Megan Hicks of I Run Far, and I'm with Erika Lori. She took third place at the 2018 Tarawera Ultramarathon. Congratulations, Erika.
Thank you so much.
So it's the day after the race. You've had a sleep, you've had some food, you've had some drink. How are you feeling right now?
A little beaten and bruised, but happy to be done and happy to have been out there.
Yeah, we were just looking at your wrist and it's really swollen.
Yeah, I fell over about 5 times yesterday during the race and then once about a half hour before the race.
So, yeah, you put your wrist in kind of a bad spot. Hopefully it's...
I did, yeah. It was hard to grab onto things as I was climbing up yesterday during the run because I think I had sprained it or something before.
Well, if nothing else needs a rest, your wrist does.
It definitely does.
So this is my first time watching you race. This is my first time meeting you.
Yeah.
But I'd love to hear more about you. You're from where in Australia?
Perth, Western Australia.
Okay.
Yeah.
And looking at your ultra running results, it seems like you're pretty new to ultra running, but I mean, the way you run and the speed that you have, you must have a history with running.
Yeah, so it started in high school, was on the state team and things like that for cross country, shorter runs. Then it slowly got longer and longer. And then my family were looking into doing some ultras, and I think I did 42k in the mountains in Switzerland, and they had an ultra there. And then so from there, I've kind of enjoyed running in different places, so I just like to go and see different things. But then I also don't mind not being too competitive as well, so just pushing to that next distance. There's no expectations on what to do next, so it's been nice to kind of slowly build up, and every time I just enjoy it and go further.
So yesterday's conditions, I mean, you were running 100k through like Burleigh, North Island of New Zealand, rainforesty terrain, and then you had this tropical storm on top of it, just dropping rain for about 24 hours before the race and basically constantly during the race. What were the conditions like?
Muddy and wet, basically. I don't think I've ever seen that much mud before in my life. It was knee deep, like in some places, and just insane. But it was beautiful as well. I was trying to look around because it's so green and so tropical, and then there was waterfalls and things like that, and that's why I love about running in trails and things, but it was a bit tricky with the mud.
Sure. So you're racing before. You've done a few ultras in Australia. That sounds like something in the marathon distance-ish in Europe?
Yeah, so I've done one of the Swiss Alpine a few years back,
really?
5 or 6, in Davos. So that was beautiful. That's a lot of uphill, and then
gorgeous.
Absolutely amazing at the top of the mountain there. It was incredible. You go through a few seasons in a day, and then what did I do next? Oh, Comrades. I've been over to South Africa and did the Comrades.
Last year, 2016? 2016.
2016, yeah.
I wasn't stalking you on the internet, sorry.
Yeah, it was like 2 or 3 years back, and so that was amazing. The amount of people and energy in that place is just so cool, and South Africa's amazing. And then after that was not last year, the year before, was the Great Ocean Trail Walk in Victoria, and that was my first real trail ultra, and it was insane. Like, it was beach, animals, koalas, echidnas, like flowers. It was just beautiful. Wow. So we got to see a really good part of Australia.
So the animals are one of the reasons why I haven't come to Australia yet. I'm like slightly afraid of some of your stuff.
Yeah, well, that reminds me, because it's quite spaced out. There's only a few hundred people that do this run, so you don't see very many people. But there was me and another guy just happened to be together, and there was a slope. This snake drops down basically onto his heels right in front of me. So I scream and run the other way. He runs in there. I think he nearly had a heart attack when I jogged up to him next. Luckily, the snake kept going, but it was massive. So they are around, but we ought to carry compression garments and things like that, just in case.
Just in case.
Yeah. At one point, I was like, oh, wouldn't mind snake bite right now because it was tough. But
so I could drop from the race if I got bit by something poisonous.
Dangerous, yeah.
So one more question about you outside of running. What do you do for a job, or where are you at in life right now?
I'm a physiotherapist. I work in a hospital with head injury patients at the moment. Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about yesterday's race. The first 40K or so are pretty flat, runnable, forestry roads. You and the other ladies at the front of the race took the pace out hot.
Yes, yeah. The first kilometre, I think I was chatting to another guy from Australia, and I was like, oh, you realise we're running at 4-minute Ks? I was like, my watch beeped and it was 4:04. I was like, oh, this isn't going to be nice at 90K. It was very fast, very fast.
But, I mean, we saw you at a couple different places on the course. You looked fine.
Yeah. Outwardly, I was feeling fine. My legs weren't into the climbs and things like that on the day, but it ended up being just great.
After 40K, the race gets, the course just changes significantly. First, you spend about 20 kilometers along a couple lakes, and reportedly, like, that was really tough yesterday.
Very technical and very tough. There was clambering over trees, and the mud just made it really hard because it was on steep banks on narrow tracks. I can imagine on a nice dry day it would be beautiful to run through there, but the mud just kind of kept sending you downhill. But it was good, yeah. And then after that, there was a big hill.
So as we're doing this interview, your dad is here in the background, and I believe he was crewing you all day. Were you getting updates from him or anybody else in terms of where you were in the field competitively?
I think at one of the first ones he did say where I was, and then after that I was like, that's great, but I was kind of hit a wall, and I was like, I'm just going to do this to finish right now. So I was happy to just kind of get through it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You were smiling the whole time.
Yeah, well, it's just so beautiful. And when you see all these people cheering for you and out there giving their time in rain and things like that.
Standing out in brutal rain.
Yeah, and it's being so cold. I was just like, well, how can you not be happy when they're so happy? So, yeah, usually when I get to those things, they're the high points because there's so many people around and you've just been going through a tough time, even mentally, that, yeah, lifts you up a lot.
So in the women's race, I found it to be pretty interesting because there were some, fast women from outside of this continent, this region, who came in, but mixed it up, and the local women regionally mixed it up just fine. Like, does that give you an idea of like, maybe I want to go out in the world and try to compete at a higher level, or does that get you thinking at all?
It's mainly the days leading up, like I start to get that competitive edge. That's why I started running longer, was to kind of take that away. So I guess if I had time and things like that to commit to it, then I would love to do it, but I kind of don't like doing things by half. So yeah, I think it could be a thing, but for me right now, I just like doing it for the traveling and for the fun of it.
Well, I think that's plenty of reason to do this sport.
Definitely.
Your dad said I needed to ask you about how you trained for Tarawera. You had a special training mechanism?
Yeah, well, the past few months haven't been ideal. I went to Japan for a bit of a snowboard trip about 10 days before I got back. So it was 10 days of snowboarding. So my quads and my ankles got a good workout.
10 days?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No running during that time?
Oh, yeah, I did. I jumped on a treadmill for 10 and 20K, staring at a grey screen, which was not so much fun.
Dedication.
Yes. Well, I thought so.
Well, congratulations to you on your third place finish yesterday. And it was fun to get to, chase you around the course.
Yeah, thank you so much for everything as well, for being out there. I saw you. It was great to have the cheering.
Of course. Congrats.
No worries. Thank you so much.